You're listening to Brazen Exchange.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to Brazen Exchange. I'm your host, Vanessa Imadi. In today's episode, I have with me should I call him, we have this running joke at the moment, importer, exporter. Hello, Ebuka. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Oye. Thanks for having me here. I'm happy to be here.
For how long have you been an entrepreneur? Let's start with that. Because I remember you used to fix laptops and then so which one came first?
I started off as a computer technician first. I fixed computers. That was the first thing that I learned in Computer Village after trying to seek for admissions in school. I think that's over 10 years now. It wasn't really working out for me. So I thought about instead of just sitting home waiting for jam again the next year, we had this family meeting where we decided, okay, instead of staying home, why don't you go to Computer Village to learn how to fix computers? So yeah, so that was how this whole thing started.
And so since 2014, 2015, you've been fixing computers. How has that been? Like, what was the experience like when you first started? Did you think that you were going to continue doing this till now? What was the plan?
Well, so at the time, I had a couple of options, but when the option of going to Computer Village to learn how to fix things, because I've always had this love for fixing things. So when that option came in, I liked the whole idea. So I got to Computer Village. I had to learn for a couple of years. I think about 2 years or thereabout. So the idea was it was supposed to be like a temporary, something till I go back to school. But 10 years down the line, we're here, and I enjoy every bit of it. I enjoy being self-employed. I enjoy doing my own thing. Unlike you people that will have to wake up by 5 a.m. to be jumping Lagos traffic and things like that. Being self-employed is a little bit more flexible. So I like that. I like that.
You started off fixing laptops and now you sell laptops. Guys, the laptop I'm currently using, in fact, all the gadgets that I'm currently using, I got it from Ebuka. Ebuka, please tell us more about your business. You're now into sales. So for how long have you been into sales? And you have a very unique name, by the way. So tell us a bit about that. Please go ahead.
I run my own business. My business name is it's called Dimori Integrated Systems. That is what it's called, and the company has been registered for about 5 years now. I was using a different name initially. Being a young person, I I chose a name at the time that I later couldn't register when I wanted to register the name. So then I had to go for something else. So I did this registration 5 years ago, and I've been using it since then. So it is called Dimori Integrated Systems. So that's the name of my business. The whole sales part of it started a few years after I left my, Oga's place, as we would call it. Shout out to Oga Uche. He was my teacher, my mentor, whatever you want to call it, in this whole computer field that I found myself in. He taught me everything that I know regarding fixing computers. Started sales couple of years after. I think that should be like 3, 4 years after, and I am glad that I did because it made me better off than my peers because there are people that started this sales selling computers thing without having a background of the technical part of it. That is what we call the engineering part of it. So it makes them all they know about is just sales and the money part. They don't know much deeper details when it comes to things like somebody that learned how to fix would know normally. So the whole learning part was something that I really, really liked, and I'm glad that I did it at the time. So I transitioned into sales because at the end of the day, everybody wants to grow. That's the plan, to grow your business from just being a technician to customers would ask you, okay, they sell laptop, you only repair you they do. So when you hear that questions, regularly, as someone who's ambitious, obviously over time you think about it and you be like, okay, how can I secure my customers? So they would know if they need to fix, I'm their plug. If they need to buy, I'm their plug. So you don't have to be going from here to here because the moment your customers start moving from one place to another, before you know, they're gonna discover what they're not supposed to discover. That's a secret. But yeah, so the whole idea is just to, do everything. So once a customer comes, they need to fix, they need to buy something new, they need to trade in, say, an older laptop to a newer one. We also offer that services, what we call swapping. So we do that as well. So yes, so when the whole sales thing come about, I thought about how I can take my business to the next level, and and for ways, and try to incorporate sales into my business as well. So for say 7, 8 years now, I've been doing sales, and now we have even grown to just more than laptops these days, because the name of the business is integrated systems. So now we try to do everything that has to do with integrated systems or services. Your phone can be regarded as an integrated system. Your speakers, the mic we're using to communicate right now, and so much more. So now we are more like a full gadget business. So that was why I'll prefer to be introduced as a gadget entrepreneur, because I that is my area of focus. Everything that has to do with gadgets, your speakers, your phones, your laptops, desktops, everything that you can think of.
Thank you so much. I like how you mentioned integrating other gadgets into laptops. So you're not just sticking to one thing, you learned how to fix it and then you started selling, not just laptops, but then other things. So now the question is, there are many youth who would also want to tow the path that you've taken, but there are several challenges, right, that comes with what you're currently doing. First of all, funding, right? How did you navigate funding? Did you have funds?
Well, our line of work, or my line of business is no, when it comes to funding, is no different from every other kind of business. Say someone that sells cars, someone that sells provisions. When we're in school, there they will teach you that the first thing when it comes to business, one of the first things is capital. For you to raise the capital. Capital, that is one of the basics of starting a new business. So yeah, it wasn't easy, but then I was quite young at the time when I started this whole thing. So obviously I had the support of my family. But since I started off as an engineer, a technician, as I like to call myself, started off as a technician. Being a technician, you don't really need much funding. So after I finished learning for a couple of years, all I needed to do was to make sure I get my tools, which is it's not quite expensive. Something that you can just call daddy and say, Daddy, can you? I need money to buy a screwdriver. I need money to buy this, that, and So as a technician, you don't really need much funding. It's just okay when people bring their systems, you fix. Then when you fix, you get paid. So it's not like when you have to go and buy 50 pieces of computers to put on it to display for you to sell. You understand? So that was how I started off. It wasn't easy, but because I had people around me encouraging me at the time, to encouraging me with little money here and there, until I was able to find my feet from years of saving, from, like I said, my fixing jobs. I was able to save quite a little money, not much, but something to kickstart the whole sales thing in a very, very modest way. One thing about life is you don't have to start in a big way. There are people that they came into this business with hundreds of millions. They come into the market. I mean, Computer Village, by the way. They come into the market. They get a big space, and when their first consignment comes in, you're asking yourself, are they the people that you're supposed to, compete with or against? People that are, having hundreds of million turnover. Then you, for instance, maybe you're having like 500,000, and you want to ask yourself, how do I compete? But one thing I've got to learn about these our businesses, trust is very important. If you know what you're doing and you have trust, and this system is a system that recommendation is very, very important. So if you offer a good service to somebody, there's no way the person will leave you and go somewhere else. It doesn't work like that in this our business. When you do a good service, most times the person will keep coming back and they will recommend more people. So it doesn't matter whether you started in a big way or in a small way. Just be honest, do good job, and just let your customers know that you can be trusted. And they will come back. They'll bring more businesses, more recommendation, refer people to you, and before you know, you're good to go. But yeah, like I said, the challenges are not different from every challenges that people face in other businesses. It's the same thing. You know, the country we are in now, it's not easy raising capital. It's not easy to just walk into the bank and you tell the bank to give you loan and they will just give you loan. It's not that easy. Banks want to give loan to big men. Nobody wants to give startup loans these days. But yeah, so it's not different. It's not different. So once you have a very good background in business, say you don't even want to do the whole fixing of computers, you just want to go into gadget sales. Obviously you need funding. So if you can sort your fundings out, then try to learn. At least you need to know what you're doing. Not because you have money, you just go into a business. You need to do your findings. Most likely look for somebody where you a place where you can learn about the business for like few months to a year before you try to go into it.
Okay, I have two questions though, but I'll start with this. How can a young person build trust? You started off with your Oga Uche who helped you in learning to fix laptops. I expect that by association, right? People would also come to
Mm,
trust you that, oh, this is Oga Uche's apprentice. He should be good.
yeah.
But somebody who is just starting off probably doesn't know anybody, but has an interest in your field, in whatever field really. How can that person build trust and get people to patronize what they're doing or what they're selling?
Well, trust. I want to believe we all know what trust is. When you look at it from just the direct translation, um, for you to do trust in business, it comes with honesty, first of all. Because if Ogauchi did not have a good reputation, there's every chance that his bad reputation will also rub off on me. Yeah. So because he was good at what he does, so when when I finished, they'll be like, you don't learn finish. I say, I don't learn finish you. Also you don't sabi now. I say yes, try me now. And they know that the person that taught you this thing is very good. They want to give you a trial. So that first trial is very important. Don't lie to them. Be honest. In my line of work, they are just like every handwork. People always complain. People that are into handwork are terrible people. Say your capital, for instance, you want to fix something, the capital will come, give you a quotation, you pay money. Once you pay, you start begging him to come and do your job. You be like, okay, I will come on Tuesday, I will come on Wednesday. By that time, you will now be at his mercy. So those and if you manage to, survive that, whole experience with him, there's no way you are going to want to call him next time. So you understand? So that is why it is very important. So when you do get the first one is very important. When you get your first person, be sincere. Don't be greedy. When you see, just be sincere. Once you're sincere and the person finds out that you're sincere, usually people want to associate with people that are sincere. So that's where the trust comes in. Once you're sincere, then just good. Being in Computer Village and the reputation Computer Village has. So if people can find just what I would call one good apple, let me put it like that, then you're good to go. Everybody will want to deal with you. So being trust is trust. Everybody, people that whether you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, I want to believe you know what honesty means. So just be honest and that's it. Be honest and make sure you know what you are doing. You might be honest, but if you're not good at your job, that's also another problem. Because nobody's going to, it's not honestly the person is going to eat now. So you have to be sure. If you are being paid for a job, you make sure you do it very well and be honest while you're at it. So that's just it.
Really, building trust, especially with people who are into handwork. There's this joke about tailors.
If you have an event this 2 weeks time, you have to tell them that you have it this week.
So that
Else,
they can get it done,
yeah,
right?
so they can get it done. Yeah,
They
so they
can
can
get
get
it
it done.
they can get it done. But really, when you now have the skills to back it up, I feel like when you have the skills to back it up, the customers will definitely find you, right? So I like that you
Yes.
mentioned building the skills. You build the skills, the people will come, even building with your network, your friends, family, whoever it is that is around you at the moment. Just okay, like you
Yeah.
mentioned, one person, your first client is a big deal. Whatever you do with that
It's a
first
very
client
big deal.
would reflect and will carry you through.
It is very, very important because I am like this. Even throughout my years of this whole, business thing, some of my best deals has actually come from recommendations. Like someone will just say, hey, Ebuka, I got your number from so. Say Oge. I got your number from Oge. I heard you sell computers. I want this, I want that. So if I did not, give Oge a very good service and Oge does not find me trustworthy, before someone can vouch for you, you must have, proven yourself to them over and over and over again. So if Oge cannot vouch for me, most of these people would even make payments
Mhm.
without even, seeing you. So that vouch has to come from somebody that they trust. So and that person in turn has to trust you. So that is where, not just trust you that you're a good person. Good person alone will not get you there.
Mhm.
They also have to trust that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Just like some people tell you that you have a friend that does something does not really mean you can
That's it.
gamble with your own thing, with it
Yeah.
is your own personal job, just to please your friend. But to not go as far as to go and recommend a friend that doesn't know what they are doing, that's where it becomes very tricky. So for instance, for someone to recommend you, it means that person, trusts everything about you, your ability to do the job, and the fact that okay, this person is a very sincere person and an honest person. So yeah.
What was your own major challenge? Like, what was the thing that was most difficult for you? Let's do it in two ways. When you first started, and then now that you are where you currently are, after, should I say, over 10 years, what challenges
Mm.
do you face currently?
My biggest challenge, in the past and even till now, has always been capital. Do you understand? Because one thing about capital is you can never actually have enough. Especially if you have goals that you've set for yourself in terms of how big you want your business to be or how big you want it to get to. You can never have even Dangote Group till today. I'm sure if you have to give Dangote another $10 billion, he would gladly collect. You understand? So at the end of the day, you realize that capital is never enough for a business. So that has been the problem. That is still the problem till date because I have this vision, I have this goal where I would want my business to get to, and I can't get there without fundings and capital. So that has been my major challenge: how to raise that funds, where to get that money from. There are no easy ways. There are no easy ways. At the end of the day, if you don't have family or friends that are willing to part away with big checks, or invest in your business partnership and or things like that, it becomes difficult to raise that capital. You understand? So that has always been my major problem. That is aside from other things that we're dealing with this country, with the whole economy not being, not helping matters, you know. But the economy one is a general problem because everybody feels it. I'm sure even you, Obi, I'm sure you're feeling it too. So you don't even need to be into business or to be a business person to feel it. Everybody is feeling it bad, bad, bad. So aside from that, I try not to personalize that because it is something that, like I said, everybody goes through it. The economy not being stable. I think I started this whole thing towards the ending of Jonathan's tenure because I remember 2015 elections and things like that that Buhari entered, you know. And from there, you can economy wise, you can't really say that Nigeria has been going down. The stats are there, not even up. So each of these things affects. It has been affecting us throughout the years down to this point. And as somebody that being into a gadget is something that people need to have money to want to buy these things. It is not, gadgets are not essential to
Yeah,
human
it's
life.
not food.
Don't put it
Yeah.
like that. It's not food. I was even joking with the lady that I buy food from. I was joking with her. I think that was just yesterday that in a type of business, whether person get money, person don't get money, person must chop, you know. And she was just laughing, and which is the truth. Gadgets, aside from people that need it for work, that say they need their computers for work, and things like that. And compared to our population, how many people really do need computers for work compared to the ones that don't? So you see, so a lot of people that need it for work that would use their last card to buy these things. But the average person that doesn't really need it for work would want to buy these things when they have excess money to spare. So if the economy is bad, it affects your customer. So before your customer would remember to say, oh, let me just buy a computer, or let me just come and buy a JBS speaker to be blasting music. I say money don't play it for your hand with that. You understand? So that's also the challenge. So that's why we're just hoping that the economy gets better. If the economy gets better, people buy these things. People like good things, but if the economy is not good, It most likely be the least thing on their mind. Person will first shop before you really worry about aside from phones, because we're in a generation where people cannot do without their phones. But if it's any other thing, people don't really need them except if it's a necessity. You understand? That's about that. So the economy, then capital, the economy is good, like I said, more sales, more things. People will call you, say, okay, this laptop is 250,000. You say, okay, I'll buy it now. Not, let's see how next month will be. And even that next month when you contact them, like, oh, my brother, I never see the money, but just give me next month again. When they keep pushing it, it's quite understandable. Things are difficult. Things are difficult. So yeah, so that's the two: capital and the bad economy. You know, that affects us all.
So, what is one thing that is giving you joy, or if you have multiple things giving you joy in your business, what is that? Something that has kept you going for this long?
For the joy part, obviously, money gives me joy. Yeah, every credit alert. Uh, have you received it? Or when OP, OP has this new thing they do. They say payment received to your OP. Some things like that. It just gives you this joy. I'm sure you know what it means when you get credit alert. So yes, obviously, I'm not gonna lie. The money part. That's why we run a business now, to make profit. So, one thing about businesses, or the thing I would say that keeps us going, is the fact that every day you wake up as a business person is a day that your life can actually change. You get a salary earner. You're just entitled to a particular amount every month. As a business person, so that's why whenever I wake up in the morning, I always have this belief that today is the day. Even on the days that I'm feeling down, I still try to just believe that today is the day. Today is the day in the sense that today might just be that day that you would do that life-changing business that you have been, hoping for. That's where the joy comes in. The uncertainty that comes with it. It has this adrenaline it gives you as a business person that makes you want to wake up every day and you go to work, because you don't know what's up. So aside from the fact that I talked about the flexibility that comes with doing business, that one gives me joy because I don't think I'm a morning person. Having to wake up as early as 4:30 a.m. in this Lagos and be going to Lekki or something. So my business, you can actually rest and wake up like a normal human being. Wake up and then you go to job, you go to work. So that one gives me joy. The fact that I have it's quite flexible. I can do other things. My job gives me time. Yeah, this day and time where people also do other things. These days, I'm sure before you go to buy things these days, you try to confirm if whoever you're going to meet is available. So hey, I'm coming to you. I'll be coming to your store today. Will you be available and things like that? So you can always reschedule and arrange things to you know, fix appointment. So yeah, so that is also good because now I'm learning a whole lot of things, but that is a discussion for another day because my business gives me time to do other things. So that's the joy that comes with doing business. The obvious the basics of business is profit. So that one too gives me joy. And the fact that there are days where you do some business, you be like, wow, this is why I love being a businessman. Obviously, from the kind of profit you must have made. I'm like, oh God, this is it. So yeah, at the end of the day, everything centers around money, ego, goodie, or whichever way you want to call it. That is
Ebuka,
just so that's the joy. Nothing else gives me joy. That is it.
with laughter. My God. Anyways, I was speaking with HR one time, and she mentioned that, you know, many people who are working, even in the 9 to 5, they are there because they want to get paid. Like, if you didn't want to get paid, you say, no, keep your money, or you want to, like, I want to volunteer, or you stay in your house, right? Everybody wants to
Yeah.
get paid. So I hear you. I hear you. It's everywhere. Is everywhere. So now, part of what gives joy, have you considered, or is this something you're currently doing? Somebody trained you, right? Is this something that you are considering down the line to train other people, or is this something you've already started doing? So that we'll build that legacy,
That's
the Dimori Integrated
that,
Systems legacy. Okay.
that, that, uh, that's a very good question. Um, And yes, I have actually trained a couple of people, but different times. We're in different times now. You understand? We're in different times where these days getting younger people to want to learn these things is not as easy, or the ones that would even come, they would not want to do what it would take to get there. Small thing, the way they would say Gen Zs or something. I don't know. This will be, you cannot talk to them these days. If you talk to oneself, you probably will not see the boy tomorrow. And when you call the
Wow.
parent to find out, call the parent to say, I cannot. Your son, is he sick? I can't find him today. The parent will tell you that he said he doesn't want to do again. So these days, people don't really want to learn these things. They really don't want to learn. I don't know. There are some things that are not even allowed to say on the air. But children of these days, and I'm going to say children, I'm not even that old, but yeah, younger people would want to do other there are other ways, fast ways to make money these days. Nobody wants to come and start losing, or having to, like, for instance, when I was learning my first 3 months or few months when I got there, I have other, because my boss then, my teacher, had some other people that were there before me. You understand? So you being the newest person, obviously it will be your job to do the cleaning. Come in the morning, you mop, you clean, you dust everywhere. And then for the first time, now you're gonna go message. Ebuka, take, go buy me food. Ebuka, take, go and do this one. Ebuka, take, go and do that. For your first few months, that is all you'll be doing for not just your boss, so for your, even the person, yeah, the person I say you might even be older than them, but because they were there before you, so they are your, most of the time, most of the things you would learn, you won't even learn them from your boss himself or your teacher himself. To be the students that were there before you. They are the ones, because sometimes your boss might be very intimidating and you might not be able to ask questions that you'd like, but your fellow students, you can ask them. I have this. So what is this? What is that? This is the RAM. This is the CD-ROM. This is the screen. This is this. This is that. You ask them. So for the first month, they will send you different type of messages. You buy them food. You buy them this. You buy them bottled water. You do a whole lot of things. So you understand. So you have to be very very humble. If you're not humble, if you're in your father's house, maybe you don't get to do those kind of things. When you're there, you have to be really humble if you really want to learn. So now back to these times, people these days they don't even want to. They really do not want to. They really do not want to. You see this lack of seriousness. So you get boys. No matter how I'm a very calm person. I'm a very chill person. No matter how calm and chill, you just realize that this person is lacking that zeal to want to learn this thing. And at a point, you will just realize that either they stop coming, or you as their teacher, you just get tired of their unseriousness and you just ask them to stop coming and go and look for something else to do, or to go home and come back when they are ready. And they would not come back. I've trained somebody, although the person that I trained is a much older person than I am. So he just told me he wanted to learn, I think for 6 months, and he did. And I think he's doing well for himself because he had money, but he had capital. He just needed to know about this whole thing. So he's doing well. He's doing well. Maybe next time I will refer him to you so you can interview him and he'll tell you all about how he learned what he learned too as well. But yes, I just wish that younger people these days would not have this mindset that there are easier ways to make money. They believe there are easier ways. People that are doing what we call Yahoo Yahoo or something, or they believe their mates probably doing using big iPhones, big phones, living soft life, and you just realize that they don't want to have to do this anymore. So that's another thing. Yeah.
You mentioned other means that these young people are looking to make money. You mentioned that they're looking for fast means of making money. And I like how you mentioned the time. So social media is putting it in our faces. You see young people, the cars, the phones, and even the lifestyle, like the seeming lifestyle. And people think that I want to do this. What is it that you're doing? Could it be that due to the digital age we are currently in, there is the AI, there's tech, right? People
Mm.
have this assumption that, okay, these are faster ways of making money. Do you think that has added to young people not wanting to go for the the jobs that require longer time. I was speaking with a tech expert the other day, and he mentioned how people have this myth regarding tech. People think that tech is quick, easy money. But he's like, no, tech tech requires lots of determination, it requires consistency, it requires learning, and it's because it keeps evolving, you're continuously learning. But most young people don't know this. They just think, oh, because this is what I see on social media, then it's easy money. How can you now, because from how you spoke about this one person who learned from you, it must have been an enjoyable experience, passing on that knowledge, training somebody to be able to fish for themselves. How can you make it so that young people would still find ways to learn from you? What means or what ways are you going to employ to get these young people to
Encourage
learn?
them. At the end of the day, yeah, when it comes to things like this, first of all, they have to be zeal to want to do these things. You understand? Let's think about the business part. Growing up, then it was a normal thing to see younger children going to the mechanic workshop, going to the tailoring workshop. You know, even things like organizer. You always see them having children around that are learning. Now you ask yourself these days, how many children do you see in these places learning? Learning, tailoring, learning mechanic, learning. How many children really? You realize that compared to say 50, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, you can see that the number keeps dropping every single day. So I think there's a reason for that. I think it has to do, it's not just about our line of business. I think it has to do with the current mindset we have in this country right now, on this age and time, where young people, like you rightly said, they see things online. They just assume that all these things are, quite easy. They just believe that they don't have to come and start stressing themselves or come. They don't even want to answer to anybody, because then your teacher, would you have to answer to them. So these young people these days don't even want to answer. Now back to your question, how do we encourage them? Well, first of all, I think it has to do with family. There's still some family, yeah, that depending on your upbringing, if you have parents that instills the value and lets you know that money is not made overnight, that to make money it takes hard work. You have parents that will let you know the importance of having a skill. If you look at it from the point of skill, when young people talk about skill these days, you only hear them talking about tech. I want to learn tech. I want to learn. That is the only skill now. People tend to want to focus on. They don't, but they act like tailoring is not a skill. Like carpentry is not a skill. Knowing how to fix a phone is not a skill. Those are skills also. And no skill should be considered less than the other. That this person is learning tech should not be considered less than a child that is learning how to do a vulcanizer or learning how to paint, how to be a painter. So is this mindset that this skill is a low level skill, this skill is a high level skill? That's where the problem comes in. You understand? And everybody cannot go into tech. I have a tech background because I have a degree in computer science. I know how difficult it is, and I know that these days it's not even easy. Most people think a lot of people, if 10 people now go to learn tech, it's only two that usually survive to the end. You understand? So it's not even an easy field. But that aside, these days I hear people talking about I want to learn a skill. Ask them what they want to learn. You will not hear things like hairdressing any longer. You will not hear things like catering or things like carpentry. You won't hear those things. Maybe hearing, oh, I want to learn data analysis. I want to do this. I want to learn web design. That's just the only skill they want to learn. You understand? So that's where the problem is. So we need to have this shift in mindset to not look down on certain professions, you know, to not because you need your shoemaker, you need your cleaner, you need your if your can matter the money you have or a bank CEO, if your tire gets flat on the road, you still most likely need a vulcanizer to help you fix it. So no skill should be considered as a low level one. So that's the problem. Uh, maybe with that way we can encourage more people to learn these things. So I think now it has gone beyond because me now, what will I do? I'm not going to go to your father's house to drag you to come and learn. You understand? So you have to be willing. I should be in my own space. Then you reach out to me, say, I want to learn this. Except you're maybe a relative where I can say, come, you must learn. Where I know if I have the authority over you to decide what you can do. Other than that, I don't know. I think there are ways where maybe the government or can help in. Maybe create things like technical schools. There used to be technical schools those days, but these days I don't even know if it's still a thing. Maybe they can learn this kind of skills in technical schools. Technical schools is if people learn how to fix phones, fix computers, painting, artistry, carpentry, or things like that. So yeah, so back to the whole thing. It's just zeal. You can't force people to do what they don't want to learn. If you force somebody to come and do what they don't want to do, they will not be serious about it. It probably cause problems between you and your customer because I have my clients, and if I'm going to get a boy to be under me and he's not serious about it, it's most likely going to cause problem between me and my clients by not doing what he's supposed to do and do it properly. And I wouldn't want that. I would rather do it by myself. You get. So yes, so that's it.
Thank you so much. You've answered the questions. Really, when you think about it, it boils down to, is it family? Is it sensitization? In fact, even before a child is done with school, parents are already putting these children, assigning them to different skills. Oh, you hairdressing, you bead making, you vulcanizer, and things like that. But these days now, you see these schools, cyber school, during what we call it now, during holidays, they have these schools for children to come and learn tech, come and learn how to
Check,
design,
check,
web
check, check,
design,
check,
things like
check,
that.
check, check.
Yeah, so tech now
Mhm.
is like the big thing, and nobody's paying attention to these other skills that even helped to get us to where we are now. And you know the funny thing, AI is probably going to end up taking most of these jobs. In fact, it has already started taking about 40% of these jobs that people are learning. But you see these skills
Yeah,
that people have, AI can't do these things that you're doing. AI can't come and suddenly fix a laptop. AI
that is
can't
what
come
people
and
don't.
make
That's what
AI
people
can't
don't
paint.
know. That's what people fail to realize that all these things are things that I mean at the rate at which we are going. Maybe in 10 years' time, if I need a carpenter, you won't even be able to find one. They will tell you that the closest carpenter you can find is like 30 minutes drive from where you are. That is how scarce these professional for this kind of field will be very soon. Your plumbing, your things like that. And these are day-to-day things that we need. Or these skills become too expensive to get because people that are doing it are
Unfortunately,
no longer
yes.
they're no longer much. Maybe you have like maybe two plumber or five plumbers servicing, in this cool Alimosho area. You get. And at the end of the day, you realize that the prices become too expensive. They'll be doing shakara because you are at their mercy. They'll tell you, I have a job already, but I will come and do it later. All these electricians and things like that. It doesn't always have to be tech. A lot of people don't. It doesn't always have to be tech. I'm tired of hearing tech, 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 tech. Usually, if you know the funny thing, I think another idea that could be implemented on a national level should be the government should make compulsorily maybe federal schools. They can a child should be like maybe 18 years before they enter university. I think that's even the that's how it is now. Yeah, you have to be like 18 years to enter federal school. Yeah,
No, I
yes,
think it's
university
16. No, it's still 16. They
16.
tried to do that before, but no. People complained.
They need to do that. Maybe because children are even finishing school earlier these days. People finish 15. At least when we were in school, most people finish 16, 17, Now I think it's even a bit lower now. So you get so maybe
Ebuka,
that extra.
you want to people who are passed, like who are brilliant and they pass. You want to hold them back and say
No, no,
no.
no. It's not holding back. That's the problem. We are always in a rush. Every year, do you know how many people that graduate? A brilliant student is going to remain a brilliant student. 1 year
Okay,
will
oh yeah,
not
let me listen. Oh yeah, what do you
will
propose? Oh yeah, what
My,
do you
my
propose?
solution is before any child gets into a university, one of the requirements you submit is, you know, a certificate, a 1 year certificate that you've learned something before you come into a university. It should be one of the requirements. As you're submitting your WAEC results and your JAM results, you should be submitting that, okay, I learned this skill, barbing. and maybe whoever taught you will give you a certificate for it. 1 year is not. If you don't get admission for that year, you will still wait for the next year before you get. So it's not. I'm not saying 2 3 years. It should be a requirement that every child should, before entering university, should learn a skill, whatever it is. And it shouldn't be. In fact, we should go as far as making it not a corporate skill like all this tech. Let it be a hands-on skill where you can learn bricklaying, plumbing, electrical, whatever. Things like that. 1 year is enough. So when you're submitting your WAEC, submit a certificate that shows, okay, a certificate for learning how to fix GSM or something. It's not. And at the end of the day, no skill is a waste. That's what people fail to realize. Just the fact that you learned plumbing for 1 year, if you know how much that will probably save you in years to come, just by the fact that you can easily fix your plumbing issues in the house without having to go and call somebody that you pay 10,000 naira to do it. It's a skill. At this rate, a time is coming, yeah. Okay, let me give you an example. Look at these big nations, for instance, more say the first world countries like your Europe, Americans, and things like that. You realize that most people doing most of these kind of jobs, check them where they are foreigners, immigrants that had so skill before they get to those countries. Now, most of them, they did not learn those skills in those places. Mostly they learned it in their country before they migrated. And there's a reason because most of the citizens of those countries probably look those jobs as they are too big to do those kind of things. You get? So it is mainly foreigners that you see doing those things. You get? So the time is coming. Maybe people that will be doing this kind of jobs in Nigeria will be people from Benin, Chad. They'll be the ones doing it because our people feel like they are too big to do those kind of things. You get? So I don't know people that are into policy making, people that are in government. I don't know how they can do this, but I think it is essential. It also teaches the child, value, and let them know that to make money too is not easy. So if their parents end up giving them 20,000, they'll know that their parents had to work hard for that money. So it creates value in their mind to know that these things, life is not. Yeah, but what do I know? What do I know? So at the end of the day, it's just a suggestion. It's just a suggestion.
I like the suggestion, just not the age thing. Like you can leave school at whatever age, but yeah, when you want to now apply for higher education, have your certificate of hands-on training. So I think I think that's a good compromise, Abby.
It's a good compromise because the only time you can actually do those things that is even before you enter school. While you're waiting for your jam result, you can be doing all of that. Or when you're waiting for your WAEC result, you can be doing all of that. And even parents can go as far as even making their children learn those things even before they finish their secondary school because there's this child that I saw in a mechanic store. So I asked the mechanic workshop. The Yoga said he comes only weekends, every Saturday, and he has been doing it for years. You understand? So parents, you can even encourage your child that okay, every Saturday instead of you being at home playing, go to that tailoring place, go and be staying with him, go and be staying with that brother. Just go and be staying with him. And tell your brother before you know you're learning one or two things. You're helping him cut this, you're helping him do this. Before you know, you're learning. So if your parents know they don't want you to wait 1 year after secondary school, then maybe they will enroll you while you're in secondary school, maybe this weekend. But at the end of the day, you should be able to tender a certificate that you learned this. Even though I know we're in a country where you probably forge the certificate at the end of the day, but yeah, we will probably forge it at the end of the day. But it's just one way to go about it. Because
Yeah.
immediately after university, you now go and do your 1 year youth service. By then, you're already needing money. You're already looking for a job. You probably will not have that time,
Hmm.
except you realize that there's no job in this country. Then you're not gonna start learning. By then, you're already too old, sir. That's when you're not gonna start learning. But if you've
Yeah.
had experience with it before, much easier.
And
Much easier.
it's a good skill to fall back on, especially when your degree isn't helping you get that job. It's a good skill to fall
Get
back
the
on.
job you want.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes. It has been a delight chatting with you, Ibuka. Thank you. I'm so happy and delighted that I managed to drag you here. Look at the quality of conversation we just had. Are you not happy?
Yeah, yeah, I am. I'm happy to be here as well. like I rightly told you, I think you mentioned it during the beginning of this video that the things, all the gadgets you're using, that you got them from me.
Okay.
So as you patronize me, the least I could do is to, at least come to your show to talk about things like this in a way that's a patronage on my part. So I'm happy to be here. There's still so much to talk about. Maybe we can always reschedule some other, later in the future to still talk about more things. But yeah, it's really, really nice to be here, and I've had a great time so far.
Thank you. So, for people who are interested or who would like to patronize you and try out the Dimori Integrated Systems service, how can they reach you? Like, where can you be found? Are you on Google, social media, or is it a WhatsApp contact? Share with us.
Okay. So, Dimori Integrated Systems, we have a social media handle. The name is unique, so you probably will not have to find different people bearing that name. So if we're on Instagram, Dimori underscore integrated underscore systems. That's our handle on Instagram. We are also on Facebook. I think those are the two social media we are on right now. We're located at number 12 Adepele Street, Computer Village. But yeah, if you can always just message us through our social media handle, and you can reach us on the 0813 8046 490. So that's our number. Just give us a WhatsApp text message, or you can call us as well. We fix computers, we sell computers, we sell phones, your cameras, um, speakers, and most things you will need. Majorly, most things you will need in computer village per se, or things that you assume that one can get in computer village. You can always, reach us and we'll help you get them. So a lot of things. But yeah, so that's about it. Thank you very, very much. And I'll be hoping to, get few calls. We can never get enough customers now. Yeah.
I'm telling you. And for those who don't know, Computer Village is the largest gadgets based market here in Nigeria. And
Not just in
Ebuka,
not just in Nigeria, not just in Nigeria,
not
in
just in
West
Nigeria,
Africa.
in Africa,
Yeah.
in West
Maybe in
Africa,
Africa as a whole. Maybe in
right?
Africa as a whole, you have like a full market where the only thing that they sell there is gadget. I don't think there's a bigger one because people come all the way from other African countries, say West African countries, to buy from here and send down to their countries. So yeah, but you're welcome, and actually I can be your plug to Computer Village. You don't have to stress about it.
I'm telling you, I'm so glad. So Ebuka is our representative, like the one representing Computer Village for us on this podcast. So and you did a great job. So a really big market where so many gadgets are being sold, many things happening there. So please try him out. Great plug, great businessman. See, my webcam, every single thing, got it from Ebuka, and it has been wonderful so far. No issues. We thank God for life. We thank God for that. Anyways,
Thank
thank
God.
you, Ebuka. Till next time on Brazen Exchange, I'm your host, Vanessa Emadi. Goodbye.